Greetings! Welcome along to Saturday morning stream of City Skylines, and today I am just pottering about on the game, just messing around. No real objective other than the standard objective of just keep everything ticking over with a gentle growth. That's pretty much it, really. That's all I'm going to be doing. Frankly, I'm absolutely shattered this morning. I didn't sleep till after 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at 6:30, which for some people might be absolutely fine. For me, it's not enough sleep. Absolutely not enough sleep. So this game had better work nicely for me today. No crashes, because otherwise I'm likely to get a little bit frustrated with it. I know what I'm like when I'm tired. So yesterday I was doing pretty much the same sort of thing, just pottering around on the city. It wasn't on the stream yesterday evening, just pottering about. When I was on the stream, I'd started building this bypass. That bypass has continued now. It carries on around and then back down here under the hill and then out into this ugly area of the city. And this really isn't a very attractive area of the city. We've got the motorway going here, we've got a bridge here, now we've got the bypass coming through. It's not nice. So at some point I need to think about that. Bear with me, because I just realised you can probably hear the echo from me monitoring, and I cannot think. Audio properties, that's the one. Turn off the monitoring. You probably couldn't hear that actually, because I just realised I didn't have the desktop audio playing. And we want desktop audio playing. You don't want to just listen to my very tired, slightly croaky voice this morning. I'm sure that's not that appealing. So at some point I need to think about how I'm going to tidy this up, because this is horrible. I mean, we've got, as I say, this bypass road here. We've got this road that does this weird curvy roundy thing to get to the station. We've got a station that, okay, it seems to be getting slightly more popular than it has been, but it hasn't been that popular. We've got two railway lines. We've got the railway going under here. We've got the junction with the railway. It's just not nice. So I think number one objective could be to tidy up the freight branch here. We could bring that underground straight away and then have that run under all of this and not see it at all. There's no connection anywhere. It literally just goes over these railway lines and then under before branching out here and crossing over the river. So I think that can be number one. We'll tidy up by doing that. So if I just pause this for now, you can take out this line. So it really isn't nice. And that bit as well. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take the track, look underground. I'm going to connect here, and hopefully we just go straight over here. We've got the tube line to be aware of, that's fine. But if we come over to here-ish, then hopefully we can come up. Slope's too steep. Okay, just need to bring it back a smidge. And the space is now occupied because of that. But if we just bring that through, hopefully that will work. Carry on. Right, okay, good. That just tidies things up slightly. We've got one tunnel here now that we can see, and a tunnel here that takes the freight under this area. Just tidies things up, just makes it look a little bit nicer. Now then, The passenger station is a little bit more awkward because we've got an interconnect between the different lines here. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet. This through line, in theory, could just carry on. I mean, I could submerge the whole lot and just bring it out for the station and then submerge it again, and we just don't see any railway apart from where obviously it pops up for stations and freight. I'm not convinced this is the best place for the station either. It really was put there based on the original line of the railway, which came along here, and originally the passenger station and the freight terminal were on the same line, which obviously changed. So that's the reason why it's there, but it doesn't really need to be there. I could bring it over here and have it this side, but then to access it you're going to have to come down this busy road, so that might not be the best plan. Decisions. It's such a... Planning the road network and the transport network is really one of the most difficult things, I think. Zoning is fine, you just plot the zones wherever, but if you get this wrong and you zone, then it's so much redevelopment that can be needed, and I've obviously done that quite a lot, redeveloping the city to accommodate different changes to the way the road and transport system works. And it's not that much fun doing the redevelopment, I don't think, because I like the way the city's built, and say if I needed to do something on the motorway here, it would involve demolishing all the houses over here. This is the original, well, a lot of this is original residential areas, and it'd be a shame to get rid of houses here on the oldest part of the city. This really is original light density residential. I haven't increased this to high density because it's the original part of the city. I didn't want to change that. Didn't really want to lose its character. Although I've got this ugly monorail going down here now, that might change at some point. I might decommission that. The trains don't run down here at the moment anyway, so there's not really that much point in having that line and that station, which is costing me money. Let's actually just turn the station off because it is costing me money. So that's something to think about. But the city over there, I mean, it's got a lot of roads, it's got a motorway cutting through it, but I'm quite pleased with it. It's relatively attractive, I think, to look at, this area. Not over here, this is ugly, but this isn't too bad. But over here, it's just a mass of different roads and the rail network, and it just doesn't look nice. I think what I'll do first, though, is I'm going to fill in this area here, this bit of green space. We'll make this the next key area for development. Now I have to decide whether I'm going to leave the motorway above the city, visible, creating this scar, or I do what I've done here and make it a subterranean road. Because by doing that, it frees up the land, it makes it a lot more attractive. It would mean I wouldn't need that bridge. But then, of course, if I do want to put access onto the road around here, it makes it that little bit more tricky. So I think for now, I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm going to use this space here, develop what we've got here, build this all up. It's on a hill, which is a little bit of a problem. As we can see, to get the high school in there, I had to cut into the hill to make enough space. We've got the roundabout here, which we can branch off with smaller roads. This is the end of the bypass at the moment. So I've branched off for this coastal road. Eventually, as the city grows, and I presume I can buy more space, I can open up these areas and then bring the bypass around the front of the city to connect up to the roundabout here, and then we'll have a ring road of sorts that goes right around the city. It would also be good to get this space here, because at the moment the ring road is going around and it's sort of cutting in and then coming out again, sort of following the line of the border I've got here. It'll be, if you have this here, then obviously I can bring that out a bit more. I could even think about going up here. Okay, lose a little bit of the industry if I brought the ring road right around here. But there might be something to think about. Oh my goodness, I'm tired. Okay, right. Get on with it. Come on. Let's zone then off this road. That's a small road, isn't it? We need to be a bit careful that we don't overload small roads. I mean, this is a small road in its own right, which could end up being redirected into a larger road, but again, it'd be a shame because that would destroy the coastal field. So I think what I'll do, we'll keep this as a small road. We'll have a 2-lane road going along here, and we'll build off that. And that'll be sort of the bit more of a key transport route. So, and level. We are going to cut in on there, so apologies to those commercial units that are going to lose their shops, but never mind. These things happen in the name of progress. And we'll cut onto the roundabout there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some smaller roads, tree-lined, and I'm just going to do some little branches, little avenues, like so. So the trouble of doing this is it puts a lot of junctions on this road. Now, these are commercial, so I'm not going to zone residential there because these are going to be quite noisy. So I'm going to put a little bit of office space in here. There's a little bit of a buffer. And it might be beneficial just to have one of these cut down so people can get to the school easier. So I'm not going to do that with all of them. But that just gives a bit of access. And of course this is a smaller road. Having fewer junctions on this road makes more sense, I think, compared to having lots of junctions on a small road. The larger road has got the many junction setup. But what I'm going to do is change the nature of these junctions so they're not signal controlled. These are small roads, they shouldn't need traffic lights. I could put stop signs, but the key thing would be to keep traffic flowing along this road, so traffic coming in and out, or coming out of these side roads will have to stop, make sure it's clear, and then go. That's the plan anyway. Now this road being small might be a problem. It might be that I upgrade this road to 2 lanes and cut it through to here for access to the main bridge in and out, or across the river. So let's look at doing that. That can stay a small road, but this will cut through to that junction there. I think that makes sense. Because then we're not relying on this small road to do sort of the heavy lifting of the traffic, hopefully. Make sure the power stays connected. Now, I did have trees along here. I'm going to put those trees back in because that looked quite nice, I thought. We've still got some, but they burnt down, and I didn't realise burnt down trees would regrow. And I cut a lot of them down, so it'd be nice to put them back in. Just create this nice, attractive waterfront forest. Keep the place nice and green. Hopefully we don't get another blaze burning them all down, which is what happened before. We had a massive blaze a while back that set fire to all these trees and this whole row of houses. And yeah, I just cut down all the charred remains of the trees, not realising that they'd actually grow back. So now I need to put them back myself, which is silly, but there we go, lesson learnt. How far along here am I going to go? To this sort of nook here? I don't think I went much further than this, because originally these were as a way of just cutting down on noise from these turbines. I don't know if it works, because obviously they're so huge and trees are comparatively low down. So I didn't go much further than here before, but I think it'd be quite nice just to run these all the way along here. We'll just thin it out as we go over here. Just not quite so dense. There we go. Something like that. That'll do for now. Who knows? I don't know if it makes any difference, but it looks nice. So what have we got on demand? We've got very small demand for residential. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start zoning a little bit. We're not going to go crazy. I'm just going to put a bit here around where the school is, and we'll just see how that gets taken up. Let's just check, make sure everyone's got water. Yes, they have. That's good. So that just brings up the development on what I'm calling the eastern area of the city, as divided by the river. So we've got the main area where everything was developed originally. We've got the northern district, and we've got the start of the eastern district here, and of course the eastern industrial area over this way, which is just a horrible mess of ugliness. But hopefully as time goes on and I sort of tidy this area up a bit, maybe we'll just sort of work our way across and things will naturally fall into place as to how they can work better and look better. I mean, for example, this railway, I mean, that doesn't need to pop out these tunnels quite so early. So I could bring that underneath into tunnels, excuse me, a bit later, I would think. So I'm going to try that. See if we can go that far back. Careful, make sure I can go underneath the tube. That should be okay. No, it's not okay. Can we go further under? Yeah. Slow too steep, so I'm going to have to bring that back. Oops. Just a smidge. So that brings it underneath the tube line. Significantly under the tube line, but that's okay. That'll do. So it just brings that further back, which is probably going to be a bit tidier, and then we can do the same with the branch line for passengers. this time we don't need to worry about the tube line because we're staying on this side of it. Come on. Oh no, that hasn't created a tunnel, has it? No. Can't quite see what I'm doing because of the road bridge. So let's just... Well, nah. Get rid of that. Right, okay. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Right, so we want to bring this into a tunnel. Why is the space already occupied? Why can't I have my tunnel that far back? Did I demolish more of that line? Maybe I went to there, actually, thinking about it. Come on, where are you? Right. Ah, that looks better. Yeah, right. So we'll try and line these up a little bit, just for symmetry. Not that I'm being picky. And then we can connect over to there. Right. Does that look nicer? Does that tidy things up somewhat? Yeah, a little bit. Across the bridge, into the tunnels. Freight comes out of its tunnel over here, near the freight terminal, that's fine. Passenger one comes out here at the junction. That's also fine for now. This is still a mess, but we've just tidied this area up a little bit. The power lines, they're a bit all over the place. They're connecting up this area of the city. They're coming, oh, I see, yeah. It might be nice to tidy those up just a little bit. Let's run new power lines then. Can I run a power line over here? If I can run a power line near to the bridge, I think that would look nicer. It's just a little bit more out of the way. I'll connect it up in a bit. Can we connect over those? Probably not, no. We can't go over here, can we? No, I didn't think we'd be able to because of the bridge. That's a shame. If we go there, take that bit out. Come on! Thank you. Demolish it when I want you to. Thank you very much. Right, pause. We're going to disconnect the power for a minute, and we're just going to reconnect over here. So this is all just tidying up. So very much just pottering about today. No real clear objective. Just keeping things ticking over and just making things look that little tiny bit nicer. Particularly around this horrible mess of a site that is over here. There we are. Right, so we've got the residential areas building, that's good. Demand isn't huge, that's fine. We're at 40,000. A little bit up on yesterday, which is nice. And we've got some demand for commercial and some industry, and I need to think where I'm going to put those. That isn't going to disturb residents too much. I haven't been zoning any particular key industry areas. So, you know, what I would do originally at the start of the game is say, right, this area over here is industry, this area over here is residential, this area over here is commercial. Lately, for ages now actually, I've been sort of merging it all together with the intention that if people want to travel from home to shops to work, if everything's sort of merged together into sort of one area, it's very much they don't have to travel too far. It's an idea of traffic management. I'm not sure whether I want to keep doing that. You've not got enough workers. Why have you not got enough workers? There's not much in the way of buses around here, I suppose. Maybe we should have a bus route, just doing a little loop. And maybe accessing the industry area up here. Let's do some public transport then, because we've got no, apart from the X1, which is a service which connects the city centre over here all the way over to the railway station over here. There is no bus service over this way, if I remember correctly. So let's have a little look and see what's going on with buses. Am I right on that? We've got the metro, which isn't very popular over here, so we can think about extending the metro into this area. We've got a passenger branch line, which takes us to the station here, and we've got the X1 bus service, which is over here. So I think we start a new bus service that just runs along this coastal route. So let's start a new line. Buses, bus stops. Let's see. Let's have it here. Let's have it go up here. Actually, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the school. I'm going to have a bus stop right by the school. We'll go along. We'll have one up here. That's the medical centre, I think. So that sort of makes sense to have one there. Then we can... We're not going to go up that road. We're going to go up here. We could just loop around here for now. And what we could just literally do is a little loop around. It's not going to be a big bus service at the moment, but it just means people don't have to drive. I mean, they shouldn't have to anyway, there's barely any distance, but we'll see. So we've got stop by the school, stop by the medical centre. We could have a... Oh, we have got to stop that on that road. We've got to stop here, and we've got to stop here. Is that going to be enough? There's no stops on this section yet, but as that gets developed, we can review that. We're going to call that new bus service the E1. It's a bus service in the eastern region, called E1 Loop. Now, red hues are north, blue hues are south, green hues are cross routes. So, what hue do we have now? Pink, purpley, whatever. Okay. Just trying to sort of give the colours a bit of a theme, so I know what's going on when I look at buses, because I can never remember specifically which number service we've got. But I know now that if I see a pink bus, it's going to be over here, serving this area. If I see a green bus, it's a cross-region service, an X service. S buses, I can't remember what colour they are now. Are they blue? Which would serve down here, and whatever the other colour was would serve up. Was that red? Would serve up here. I think that's how I colour coded it, something along those lines. So we've got to wait for the buses to actually... Are they here already? Oh, they are here already. Good. So let's have a little look. We've got lots of buses at the moment. Just coming into service, I think. Hopefully, because they're not stopping. Coming up to the first bus stop. I'm sure that's what's going on here. Oh, look. Well, that bus stop is rammed. Oh, that's good. Is that the medical centre? Oh no, sorry, it's the elementary school. My mistake. That's okay. That doesn't matter. And then we've got another one here, I think. Let's follow this bus for a minute. 2 people on it at the moment. It's not busy. So we'll just watch it and see what happens. Hopefully it will get used. These bus stops aren't exactly heaving. You know, one person got off there, we've only got one person on the bus now, that's a shame. We're going to get off there. Yeah, now we've got nobody. That's okay though, that's the last stop on the line really. Now we're just going to go up and loop around and come back. Eventually, as this area gets developed, this service can then carry on and we can put some new bus stops in, and that will serve this area here. So obviously this is a little bit of a wasted journey now. When we come back in. I like the view over the river there. a lot of flashing icons, isn't there, over the city? Most of them are just cemeteries or landfill is full. Nothing really to worry about too much. Right, we're coming back into the eastern part of the city. So think of names for these districts. I haven't actually formally defined these as districts, but wow, look, this is a busy stop. Excellent. So this will fill up. And then we'll see how quickly it takes for the bus to be emptied. So we can see where the busy areas are. Right, so at the elementary school, most people get off here. That's interesting. So now we only have 2 people. Well, that's quite lazy, really, because that's not a huge distance. People could walk that. But fine. So it's doing something. It's moving people around. That's got to be a good thing. I was hoping it would improve access up here. I could put a footpath through, I suppose. I don't really want to put roads through to down here because I don't want this to get too congested. I wonder if I can squeeze a pavement in there. That's what I'm wondering. Is that connected? Can't see in this light. Looks like it. Bit of a hill, but that's okay. It just hopefully, yeah, just improves pedestrian access from one side to the other without having to put too much pressure on the actual roads. So we've still got a demand for commercial and industry. So what I was saying, wasn't I? I was thinking about how I'm going to zone that sort of stuff and whether I want to actually create a commercial district, as it were. I need to be a bit careful that I don't overload junctions here. And this is a key bridge to get to the southern central area. Do have the bypass, that's all the way over here, and we've got an access to that here as well. I could bring a big road off, create a commercial district in here. Got the motorway a little bit in the way, but that's we'll just have to deal with that. Okay, let's think then. So if we come off, the key thing with the bypass is that we don't have junctions other than the roundabouts. So if I have a commercial district here, there will be no connection onto the bypass here. It will have to be done off this roundabout. So if I take a smaller road off here, still a big road, we'll just curve it round into this area. Where should I go? About there? I need to think about that bridge. Well, a bridge that will be needed for the motorway, so probably let's bring it around like that. Let's go straight from here. So too steep. Last. Do I need to be that high? Can I get over the road that high? Can I? Yes, I can. Good. Okay, yeah, so it's another bridge. I mean, this is the problem. It's by bridging, I'm using up a lot of. It's basically unused. It's wasted space. That's what I want to say. Let's bring it into there for now. I'm wondering, well, this is all raised up, so this is quite tricky, but really there should be a roundabout here. Let's reconnect that power, because we've got a lot of power. Power supplies over on the industry area. I don't want to put this under strain. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe I'll put these tunnels in for the railway. Well, I had tunnels in a way, but I've moved them back towards the river. Maybe they need to go further back. And then I need to think about putting a roundabout in down here, just a small one, before it gets developed, because this could end up getting quite busy. In fact, the roundabout could even go here, thinking about it. So that's going to be major redevelopment. So this is why I'm trying to think a little bit earlier about what I'm trying to achieve. Rail. So too steep. There we go. Bring that in there. Bring that to there. It's not too steep. How can the slopes be too steep? I've just made the slope. Well, that doesn't make sense. It's exactly the same, isn't it? There we go. That was weird. I must have been trying to connect to a different point. Okay, so train tracks go underground earlier now. Come off the bridge. Essentially, as soon as they're off the bridge, they go under, which clears up that space. Now, this road needs to change. So we've got 2 lanes there. We've got this small road. We've got this road. We've got this road, all trying to connect up. So I'm going to put in a roundabout. I'm thinking only a small one. I don't think a big roundabout will fit, and I think that would be a huge waste of space. So I'm thinking if I put a small roundabout in here, take off this branch, we don't need that. Take off all the branches, make the branches myself. There's the 2-lane road, not underground, thank you very much. And we'll just bring that over. No, I don't like that angle. Onto there. This is straight over to there. If I can get it right. And then we've got this smaller road which will connect. There, and then this, I suppose potentially that could be a... Look at those flying trucks! Wow, flying trucks! That's quite amusing. Oh, and flying people as well. We've got anti-gravity in this city, people. Anti-gravity. Well, it amused me anyway. Where have I gone? Okay. Don't mind me, I was just clicking around trying to do something. Right, so that comes out. 2-lane road. Is it going to be too steep? Or is it going to be happy? It's going to be happy. Good. Okay, so that simplifies that area. Well, I mean, it's simplified. I mean, the whole place is complicated, but I love that. Flying cars, flying trucks, flying people. That's quite amusing. Well, it's amusing to me. I find humour in these things. Now, the power lines, where did they go? They were running here to here. Now, so I need to reconnect those over. Are they still connected up there? Yes, they are. So let's reconnect these. I mean, these might not even be needed now, really. We could just go straight over the roundabout there. And there's little point in that one. Okay, so that simplifies things. That makes things a little bit better, I hope. And this will become the new... Is this going to be commercial industry? What do we reckon? We could do commercial this side, we could do industry in this little bit here. Alright, let's carry on. Get rid of the flying cars coming into land. I suppose a little bit of a shame really that the roundabout doesn't serve this junction here, but it's only a three-way junction, so hopefully that won't be too complex. What's going on with the actual junction itself? It is traffic lighted. We'll leave that as it is. If it gets busy, we'll review it, whether that should be traffic lighted or whether it should be a stop sign. But we'll leave it for now. So we've got access to the bypass, if needed, on this road here, which will go through the commercial estate. You can also get to the bypass this on this roundabout. So that's good. So that should enable easy access to other parts of the city. And since the demand for commerce is there, I am now going to start zoning that. So let's bring some smaller roads in. I mean, I could bring another road, a small road in off the roundabout, I suppose. It'll be just in and out, really. We'll go out there as well. And then we'll just zone in here. Some commerce. Make sure they've got some water, because they will complain. Fussy lots. There we are. Right, let's save this before anything disastrous happens. Oops. Saving him. Right. That's good. Right, I'm going to take a short break. I will come back in a moment, 5 minutes or so, and we'll carry on. Back in a bit. Right, hello, back again. Apologies for the break. So, where were we? Building a commercial district, that's right. There's a bit of demand for commerce, isn't there? So, we've got a new commercial district just coming in here now. We've got people coming off the bypass, that's good. They're coming into the commercial district. I don't have names for districts, so it's just the commercial district. It's nothing exciting. I'm terrible at naming things. Terrible. I'm worried this roundabout is going to get busy. I'm worried that this is going to be too small a roundabout for the area, particularly if they're going to use it to get onto this bridge. Didn't think of that. Ah. Okay, well, we'll see how things go. It might be that I'll need to think of another exit off this roundabout to get up onto this bridge, rather than having everyone coming through the commercial district onto this roundabout and then up here. I don't think that's going to have the capacity. I think we're just going to end up with a traffic jam. But we'll see how it goes. So it's going to, this side of the motorway is going to be commerce. I'm going to put industry over this side. And remember, we don't put any junctions onto the bypass. It's strictly handled by the roundabout. So we'll do a new 2-lane road. That'll do. That's fine. And then we'll branch off here some smaller roads. Now I could bridge the highway and connect up to here, but I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to at the moment. I might think about it another time. But for now, we're just going to go across like this. No connections. And then we'll zone in. This will be an office district, because most of my industry is office based to keep things fairly clean. Oh, I've just realised I zoned that and I'm going to lose all those trees, aren't I? That's a shame. Never mind. Should I de-zone it? Let's de-zone it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to zone, sorry, the first 2 squares here. And I'm going to zone these. That's fine. And I'm going to leave those so that we have the nice row of trees. I like that row of trees. It's maybe a little bit less necessary than it was. We had a lot of wind turbines in this area originally. They've been decommissioned because we've got larger power supply facilities through the solar generator here and the geothermal plant here. So they're not as necessary as they once were. Oh, water. They need water. Industry wants water. I'll just branch off here then. Just keeping with my usual policy of, rather than doing loops of loops, I keep a continuous loop. One continuous loop for the water network. So there we go. So we've got industry building up here, so we've got less demand for that. We've still got a bit of demand for commercial, so let's put in another branch here. I just want to keep it, let's have a straight road. And then we'll zone that as dense. Whoops. No. Which one is the fill? That one. Dense commercial in there. And again, here, I'm just going to be a little bit careful, because I don't want to get rid of my trees. So I'm just going to zone in there. But that next one should be fine, I think. And we'll keep this. We'll have all of this as commerce. This whole area. They're complaining about workers, so we need to think about more residential zonings and how we get people into there. So we've got quite a big road going across here, so zoning residential around here presumably won't be too bad. I might rezone what we've got here actually. Of course we've got the commercial district there. I don't think we really need this block here. So I'm going to rezone this as residential. And hopefully that'll provide more workers if people move in over this side. The bus network really maybe should expand into this area. So maybe I should revisit the E1, which currently is just going around in a loop here. So that instead it comes up, goes into the commercial area, and then really it should continue into the industrial area, but looping it around will be a bit tricky because we've got dead ends. Didn't think of that, did I? But I can turn around one of those dead ends. So we come up here, we go over, we put a stop in here. And maybe we'll just have another stop in here as well. And then just come straight out again. I'll put the stop in opposite. Comes out. Should we have a stop here before the roundabout? Because we haven't got a service on this side, so that might be worthwhile. Comes back round. And then it carries on serving where it was serving. So that maybe will make that bus a little bit more useful, and it'll also help bring people from this area to the commercial district, to the small industry area over here. Got a bit more demand for industry. I haven't finished zoning over here, so let's zone these. I want to be careful because I don't want the bypass to become a road that's full of whatever, lots of parked cars and the like. At the moment I've got no, if I remember right anyway, I've got no zoning along the bypass. It'd be good to be if you could zone a no zoning, actually, you know, so I don't accidentally zone something. I can so reserve it as there will be nothing here, but there isn't a no zoning option. Okay, so that's good. So we're getting a little bit of development over there now. This is starting to build out. This has been so long empty, ugly, empty space. It's cut. It's divided by the highway. There's no denying that. The motorway really gets in the way. It might be something that I'll reconsider, making it go underground so that I can have these as flat roads and then I can continue zoning. But I'm not going to worry about it too much for the time being. In terms of traffic, it shouldn't make any difference. It's just that this is wasted space, effectively. Well, a lot of buses just sitting there. Why are they just sitting there? 2 people on that one. Oh, they're off now. Nobody on that one. Great. This bus, nobody on that one. This one. Oh, 13 people on that one. Okay, so people are using it to get to the commercial district at least. Anyone getting on here? No. $13 people, and then they all get off here. That's interesting. And they're complaining that people are not available to work. Well, I mean, is that just because the bus isn't coming all the way down here? That's quite fussy if it is, I think. Let's put a footpath between the two. See, footpaths are a little bit awkward to create, I find. You should be able to just start on the road and end on the road, but you can't. You have to be off the road and it will do it yourself. It's a bit counterintuitive, I think. And we'll do the same over this side. Can I bridge with a footpath? That'd be fun. Slope's too steep. Yeah, should have thought about it. Never mind. So, yeah, so I won't be able to do that. Well, that's obviously too far in anyway. But it'll have to be here to here. So pedestrians can link around quite easily. If pedestrians want to cross the highway, though, they're going to have to go up onto this main road, which is a bit of a pity. Right, why have we not got that bit there zoned? Let's zone that. That should be zoned. And I'll zone this bit here as commercial as well. Really, this I suppose should be commercial if we were keeping to the rules. So this was originally zoned as industry, so who cares? So we're already seeing some traffic on the roundabout here. This is disappointing. Why are they stopping? They shouldn't stop. What's going on with the junctions? They're not traffic lit or anything. There's no stops, stop signs. These should just be moving around. Once you're on the roundabout, you should be fine. You should be going. So we're getting far too many people going along this way. I wonder then, maybe I should discontinue that link. This is the main road. I want people to be driving here onto the roundabout. I don't want it to be getting complicated. I don't quite understand why they're stopping. Let's see if things flow a bit better now. We've got one fewer junction, one less junction, one fewer junctions. See, I was worried that this would be too small a roundabout, wasn't I? Why can't I make a 3-lane one-way road? Because that's what the big roundabouts are, aren't they? Or is it made out of highways? Maybe it's made out of highways. 6-lane. 6-lane one-way road. I want a 3-lane one-way road. Sorry, wrong button. Two-lane highway. There's different slip roads, are they? One-way highway with barriers. 4-lane highway. 2-lane highway. Highway, that one. Should we try that? Upgrade the roundabout. That's more in line with a large roundabout in terms of its design. Of course, the actual footprint of it is roughly the same as a small roundabout. So I don't know how well that's going to improve things, but we'll see. And we've got quite a bit of traffic backing up on this road now. So we might need to up that to a larger road. And we'll do the same here. We'll see if that improves things. We've always got the problem that this is a T-junction and it's traffic lit, so if we get too many vehicles here, they're going to queue onto the roundabout. So that's going to be an issue unless I change what happens on this road. Once the lights are green, it's fine. The traffic disappears, so we're all right. I think increasing the capacity there has probably helped for now. Whether it's a long-term solution remains to be seen. But that's good that I can just upgrade small roundabouts to these, to effectively a large roundabout with a small roundabout footprint. So the advantage of using highways is you can't zone next to them. I would love that to be the case for my bypass, but highways are one way. It would be great if you could have a two-way, designate this as an actual highway, but have it in two directions. Because I don't want the footprint of two physical roads. Because the footprint of the bypass is fine. It's one road, it's wide. 1, 2, we've got 3 lanes in each direction. The highway is also 3 lanes in each direction, but you have 2 physical roads. It takes effectively double the footprint. I don't want to do that. But as far as I'm aware, there are no 2-way highway sections. They all have to be one way. One-way road, 4 lanes, one way. So unless I actually designate the bypass as a one-way road, which would be silly at the moment because it's not a complete circuit, it wouldn't work. Well, I've certainly got the space to do it. If I wanted to increase it to an actual highway grade, I've got the space to do it, but it seems a waste. The traffic density is not that high. If we look at the traffic, it's fine. In fact, the traffic on this small bridge is ridiculous. I was hoping that people would come off and use the bypass. It doesn't seem like they're doing it that much. I think I'm going to decommission that bridge. It seems silly that people are going that direction. I know it's a straight connection. So yeah, I'm going to decommission it. Bye-bye bridge. If you want to connect to the other side, you have to use the main road here or the main road here. I could put a footbridge in. I don't suppose I can connect that to that, could I? No. Why does it say space already occupied? That's an irritating thing. You had a bridge before. Right. No, not down there. Up there. It's just a footbridge now. A footbridge that doesn't connect up. Oh my goodness me. Can we come up here? There we go. Pedestrians want to walk, they can walk. Former road bridge is now footbridge. There goes someone. Yay, you go and walk across the bridge. Let's follow you. Okay. There's somebody else coming on as well. That's good. So people are using the footbridge. Excellent. Encourage people to walk. There's loads of people. Fantastic. I don't know if people would use it. I wondered if the span across the water would be too much. Seems okay though, doesn't it? I have no idea how far she's going to walk. We're just going to follow her until she gets home. She's not going to go in the metro. Oh, she's going in the metro. Oh, right, okay, we won't follow her anymore then. That's good though. So I'm pleased people are using the footbridge. I did wonder if it will be a little bit too big a span for people to actually use. I don't quite... Where's the nearest metro stop over this side? That's a good question, because why has she gone all the way over there to get to the metro? There can't be a stop over this area. Maybe it's a bit underserved. But that's alright. People are happy to walk right across the river to get to the metro. I'm not going to complain. And we seem to have a bit more traffic on the main road here on the bypass, which makes sense because I've got rid of the road bridge that was here. And that was horribly congested. So hopefully that's bringing people out of the city this way onto the bypass, and then they go round that way, which is good. And maybe I need to think about putting a pedestrian bridge across here then. People are actually going to walk. This bridge is quite congested. Well, I say congested. It looks congested. It looks like there's a lot of cars coming in here. Probably more than I'd want. Again, I'd rather people use the big bridge. But then I also quite like having the link between the two residential districts. Why is it so noisy here? Because of the bridge? There's a question. Citizens are sick. Right, where's the nearest healthcare? That's police. Click the right button. Come on. Only there. Goes not that far away. Got a bus stop. Fairly nearby. Okay, you've got to go around the houses to get to it, I suppose. Maybe there should be an E2 service, which is exactly the same but goes the other direction. Because then this person can get to the hospital. So let's do that. So we're going to go this way this time. Follow it all the way around to here. Where's the... I've got no more stops on this side. Oh, that might be something to correct. We'll do it in a bit though. Right, so the bus normally comes up this way. Oh, there's one there, that's why. I'm trying to think here. Okay, so the bus comes up this way. I have to follow it that way, but I don't go that way. Instead, I go up here. And then I carry on over here. Which would simply be doubling up the service. But it doesn't really matter. Okay, we'll double up the service for now. Which will probably change at some point, because I don't think the bus over here is used that often, but in the interest of making a service that runs in the opposite direction to the E1. We'll run that to there. That then comes down, joins the roundabout, goes round the roundabout, comes down here, and then goes down here. That's it. Now we're getting there, and then we come back here and we connect up. Excellent. Good. Right, we've got an E2 line. I need to name that. Where's it gone? E2 loop. And we need to give that a similar hue, but not quite the same. So it's a sort of a purpley pink. Slightly lighter. It's a bit too similar, maybe. There we go. It's my colour coding of the various bus networks. Good. Okay, so we've got 2 loops going different ways. That means the person here was getting sick because of the noise can access the health centre, which is over here, quicker because the E1 goes the wrong way round. It will take a long time to get there. So this makes that a lot quicker. That's good. Excellent. Right. What should we do next? What's the demand like? Residential, commercial, industrial, they're all much of a muchness at the moment. So we've got commercial district here. Have we got anything unzoned that I can zone? Not really. There's a little tiny bit there. Let's just fill that in. Let's not have these gaps. Greetings, Dennis Daly. No, you're right. Thank you very much. And shall we have a little bit there? I am well. Thank you very much. How are you? Excellent. I'm just pottering about on my city today. Not really having much of an objective. Just trying to keep things steady and ticking over and just slowly expanding what's going on the eastern area here, which has traditionally been a bit of a mess and a place where things just get plonked down and really needed sorting out. So it's coming along. PS4. I've been umming and ahhing about whether to get the PS4. This is the PC version. I wouldn't rebuy, but I want to play some more modern games, and my computer just is not up to it, so I'm umming and ahhing about whether to upgrade to PC or to get a PS4. Particularly now the PS4 is getting towards end of life. I will probably just end up upgrading the PC then, since it needs an upgrade anyway. How's traffic going on over here? Good. So I've solved the traffic problem that I had over here, which is good for now. I dare say it'll increase again. I need to. Do I need to fill? I don't need to do anything. I don't need to fill this area in. But this is sort of a feels like sort of brownfields almost, with these train tracks here and power lines everywhere and all that. It'd be nice to spruce this up a bit. Let's think. What have we got in terms of zoning? That's it. Oh, I've got power lines there. Let's get rid of those power lines. That will tidy things up a bit. Don't need those there anymore. And then I can zone in some offices here. That'll fill in that gap. There we are. I've got a bit of dead space here. I decide whether I'm going to fill that in or if I'm just going to maybe plant some trees, just greenify it all a little bit. It's very urban, isn't it? It's not an attractive area of the city. Let's put some trees in. Let's see what we've got in terms of landscape. Should we have some nice... What have we got? Pines? Let's have some pine trees. Just around the roundabout here. Let's try and make the place just look a little bit more attractive. I think that looks nicer already. One more. Let's continue it round, shall we? Let's go round here as well. Of course, those power line. No, our power line isn't going well. Let's have a look. What's the power doing? I shouldn't need those anymore because everything should connect up. So I can get rid of that. I will keep that link, obviously keep that link, because there's no link through zoning. So if I get rid of here, excuse me, is that just going to touch into there? And that will keep the link between the two, because obviously don't want to lose the connection with the main power plants which are up there. It's quite precarious, I suppose. I've got one power line link across the river here. If that gets lost through a natural disaster or whatever, the power plants over here get cut off, and this area of the city will suffer. And so will this area. So I'm wondering really if I should have another... Oh, no. What am I talking about? If that gets cut off, we've got the physical link here, so it's actually fine. Probably don't even need that at all. I'll leave it there. I'm not going to worry about it. I think there's enough redundancy. What's our planting? Pines. There we are. So Dennis, how do you get on with City Skylines on the PS4? Have you got much on the go, or have you got large cities that you've spent a lot of time on? Or have you disappeared? I think you might have disappeared actually. But that's fine. That looks a little bit nicer, I think. Then we got rid of those power lines. We had power lines going down here. Now we've got rid of those. It just looks a little bit more attractive. We've got the trees going around the roundabout. It sort of hides away the railway lines that are going on here. Incidentally, if you've just joined the stream, thank you very much. Don't forget to hit the follow button and the notification bell if you want to keep up with future broadcasts. I do try and stream quite often, and it quite often is this game. So if you want to see how the city develops over time, do follow and pop in from time to time. All are welcome. I can't remember when the next milestone is. It 48,000. So I've got a little while to go before I get to an actual milestone. I'm not doing that good with sort of. Well, I'm not doing that good with doing it. I mean, it's going fine. I'm trying to really keep it ticking over today. I've not got too much in my mind in terms of trying to get towards that 48,000, although I want to see it gradually grow. And I've just seen a little drop off on the population, which is disappointing. It was heading up towards 41,000 at one point. We're now down. We've lost 1,000, 1,200 people, which is a shame, but it's not unusual. Let's put it that way. And it's it's a little bit disappointing because I've got new new residential areas gone in here, new commercial areas, new industry areas. So there are jobs, places to shop, places to live. Excuse me, all around. And we just had a drop off on population, so I'm not quite sure why that would be. Let's have a look, see if everyone's happy. 85%, that's sort of within the normal range, 85-86%, so everything seems to be all right there. So yeah, I'm not quite sure why that is. It's a little bit of a shame, but we'll not worry about it. I'm certainly not worried about it. Let's have a look at some stats. Land values. So on the coast, the land values are relatively higher until we get to where the turbines are. It just starts dropping off. It's noise, I should think. Let's have a look at the noise levels. Yeah, that's not a surprise. Obviously, we're very noisy around here. That's the commercial district. It's a fairly noisy city, actually. Noise pollution at nearly 50%. It's not a quiet city by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I think my policy of trying to keep zones fairly mixed is contributing to that. I was talking earlier about my zoning policy, if you like, with this city has been to try and keep, rather than have a large residential area and then a large commercial area off somewhere else and a large industrial area off somewhere else, which everyone has to drive to or take the bus to or take the metro to or whatever. I've been trying to keep it all quite compact, where you've got a little bit of residential mixed in with a little bit of industrial, because it's office-based industry, then mixed in with commercial. So the idea of actually people could walk to the shops and walk to work. But the consequence of that is, because commerce is noisy, we're getting quite a spread of noisy areas in the city, which obviously isn't good for residents. So I'm starting to think maybe I should move away from that, and I'm also starting to, when I do continue with that sort of policy, if you like, I'm trying to think a little bit more about how it's best to zone things, rather than having commercial right next door to residential, which initially in my head made sense to buffer the industry, and it probably did make sense because at the time industry was polluting. Now that industry has moved to office-based, industry is actually fairly quiet.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
Save. Right. Yeah, so what was I saying? That'll take a few minutes to come in, that tsunami. Yeah, so now I'm thinking, rather than doing residential and then commercial and then industry, I swap it around a bit and do residential next to industry next to commerce, and that creates a bit of a noise buffer because the industry isn't polluting. So that's my thoughts on it at the moment as we wait for the impending disaster. I suppose I should probably evacuate everybody. This is going to cost me. Sirens should be going. There we are. We've got a... where is it? Where did I put... I thought it was over here. Where did I put the shelter? There. There we go. So everybody should be going into there. Anyone in there? I have 2 people at the moment. Come on, people. Gonna move on. We've got a large shelter over here where people are flocking to, which is good. We should see that number go up relatively soon. We've got 10 buses doing evacuations. And I've got another one. Have I got one over here somewhere? I thought I had one over here, but that's quite high, so that's probably fine. Where's that tsunami then? Where is it? I've got warning buoys out at sea, so I get quite an advanced warning of these things. Does that look like it's surging? It does, doesn't it? The only problem when I do the evacuations is I start losing a huge amount of money. You look at the numbers. Huge amount of money starts dropping down. Right, let's speed things up. I'm going to be here forever. So it'll be interesting to see where floods. I've had a couple of tsunamis.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
Now, I don't have enough shelters for everyone. We do have some quite high-lying areas, but this north, what I call the north section of the city, is relatively low. We do have a high bank on the river here, but there's not much to stop it. If it comes over here, we are going to flood. Oh, the suspense! Come on! Is this going to be it? Here it is. Look, it's coming over now. It's surging in the river. It's not going to be that bad. Is it going to be that bad? We might be alright. I mean, it's spreading out now.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
The out-of-bounds motorway is obviously going to get hit. There it goes. How far in is this going to hit? That's the question. It looks like it's going to hit my part of the motorway. Yeah, well, obviously it's going to hit here. It's going to come into the city boundary. We've got the surge coming up the river. I suspect my toll booths will get flooded, but that might be the way to... You know what? I'm going to let everyone out. I don't think it's going to be that bad. And I don't want it to cost me that much money. Sorry, citizens, but my finances are important. Get back to work. Start paying your taxes.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area.
There we go. Gosh, all the cars.
And waterfronts.
Disaster. Nothing I can do about them. It's going to hit the toll booth. There it goes. Bye-bye tolls. Well, I mean, they're not going to disappear. They'll recover. But...
A tsunami has struck the city. Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts.
Oh, I love the automated alerts. The tsunami has struck the toll booths. It's a disaster. Okay, I think we're not doing too bad here. I mean, I think it's going to hit the city here, isn't it? It looks like it's going to catch it. The thing is, I've got no evacuation options for the north section of the city anyway, so sorry, people. I hope you can swim. It might fizzle out before it gets there. Of course, we've got a surge on the river as well. That doesn't seem to have done... You know, it's no problem. We've got high banks on the river here, so I think that's going to be okay. Is it going to hit? It looks like it's just going to catch the edge. I've got pumping facilities available. Actually, I've got pumping facilities available in the north section, so that's quite good. They're just over there. Here it goes. How far in is this going to get? Here it is. Right, we've hit the bypass. And now we're going to start hitting properties that are flooding. But hopefully it won't get too far in. And hopefully we'll get disaster response out pretty quick. But as I say, there's no point in keeping the evacuation order in place because the north section has no shelter. That might be something I'll need to rethink. But yeah, there's no shelter up here. There we go. We've hit as far as we're going to hit in here, I think. Just going to get to about here. We're going to flood the station again probably. This is flooded before, although I have put a bank up here. This bank here was put up after the last tsunami, which came in this way. It might be worth thinking about putting an artificial bank in to try and deflect some of the water. There we are, we'll just hit the city hall as well. Okay, I mean, it's not good for these people, obviously, who are obviously going to suffer now, but it's not the big disaster that it could have been.
A tsunami has struck the city. Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until the water recedes.
So most of the water is going down this way, so it's really just clipped the edge of the city. It's probably going to hit the recycling plant. I would hope we're getting pumping response out. Is that there? Yep, that's a vacuum truck. And there it is, just going to hit the recycling plant. So we've come out of that okay. I think it's not been too bad. Trains are still running. Tracks are clear already. And we're just going to go around, even actually it looks like it's just going to clip around the edge of the recycling plant. Barely anything. Bypass is obviously majorly hit. Not the end of the world. Could have been a lot worse. But it might be worth thinking about some sort of flood defence over here. Just to deflect the water. Because the tsunamis tend to come this way. Because that's where the ocean is, and this is quite low-lying land. So hopefully we'll get pumping trucks. Well, anyway, with this amount of water, are pumping trucks even actually going to do any good? Looks like they're going to come over and try. No? Changed his mind? Yes? No? Yes, he is. He's coming over. There you go. Look at that. Heroic effort. No, he's changing his mind. Is he stopping? No, no. He is coming. He's coming down. There's no water here. Why is he pumping that? Here he comes. He's got almost an ocean's worth of water there. But this guy and his one truck are going to do best efforts to clear it. That is a heroic effort. Now, just how much water can he put in there? He needs to be careful. It's sort of surging back here. Ah, there's another one. Look, there we go. Team effort. They're clearing the road. Fantastic. Good job, people. Yeah, that's it. Moving close. Just be careful. Don't get caught in a surge. Don't get washed away now. Don't take risks. Excuse me, blue car. What do you think you're doing? There's always one. And that's not even in the game. Whenever there's a flood, even a minor one, there will be one driver that thinks, I can get through that. It's fine.
A tsunami has struck the city.
Not again.
Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until the water recedes.
I think it's gone. I think it's fine. I don't think we need any more alerts. Thank you very much. Unless there's another one coming. I don't see another one. Yeah. That's weird. Right, so they're clearing that. That's good. What have we got going on over here? Anything in terms of destruction, rather? Let's have a little look. We've got a lot of dead bodies. They'll get picked up in time. That's an issue, but there's not much I can do about that. We should have capacity to deal with it. It just takes time to get around. I can't do a disaster report until it's finished. The disaster won't be finished until it's clear, as far as I'm aware. Train going to get through that puddle? Go on. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. So population, I can't get my words out today. I am absolutely shattered. I'm so tired. I don't do well with little sleep. I didn't sleep till about, well, after 1 o'clock, probably about 1:15 or 1:30 last night. I awake this morning at 6:30. That's not enough for me. I need more sleep. So what have we got going on? Crime is high. I think this is all just consequences of me ordering an evacuation. I'm pretty sure this will all settle down. I will demolish the abandoned places. I'm sure I saw somewhere abandoned a minute ago. Where did it go? No, there's one there. Is it that one or that one? That one. Let's look at this again. See, yeah, the hearses need to get around, certainly. And that will cause more places to be abandoned if they don't get dealt with quick enough. Okay, what's going on over here? It's all ticking over this way, so it's a problem of hearses getting down to the north section of the city. Oh, we've got flooding here as well. Yeah, this happened before. The surge in the river.
A tsunami has struck the city. Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until the water recedes.
And these are waterfront properties. They're going to get flooded if the river surges, unfortunately. It's obviously interrupting the bus route. The school is flooded, but they're all diligently out there waiting for their bus. I mean, they must have wet feet by now. Must be quite soggy. But, you know, that's commitment to public transport, that is. That really is. They could walk, but no, they want to use their public transport. And because this is a hill here and the school is in a bit of a depression, I suppose there's little place for water to go. It's got a barrier here, so it surges up and it's just going to pool in this area. But the level's dropping. The trees are almost clear of the water line. Over this way, this usually takes a little bit longer. No, not today. It seems to be okay. That's good. The city has survived another disaster. I think that's 3 tsunamis I've had, 1 tornado, 1 earthquake, and a fire which spread across this street. I think that's all I've had. I've been fortunate that the tsunamis just clipped the edge of the cities, just like we just saw. I was fortunate with the earthquake that it really hit here before this area was, well, I mean, it had all this area here, but there was no development around this area when this earthquake struck. So the key damage was just on the motorway. That was easy to repair. We had the fire, as I say, just here. We had a tornado which ripped through this section of the city, hit the river, then came down here and damaged the bridges. That was probably the most destructive disaster that the city has experienced. So the tsunamis, they cause their problems, but they're not particularly destructive. And it's quite quick that everything seems to get back to normal. It's just flooding. Right, how's it all going over here? So this, yeah, the north section of the city, this northern district, is obviously the one that was hit the most. It's been affected the most. We've got abandoned places because obviously hearses are having trouble picking up victims. I've got no evacuation facility in this area. If anyone's evacuating, I have to sound the nearest one is the main evacuation centre here, which is a bit out of the way. Now, I could build another evacuation centre. They cost money. They cost a lot of money. I know I'm earning enough. I can afford it. I like to keep being able to afford things. So what I'm going to think about doing is just raising up the landscape and seeing if we can create that buffer. Right, what do I want to do? I want this one here. We're going to bring up the landscape. Is that raising? I think that's raising. Just a bit. Then we can take this and then see if we can level that out to the same height and create an artificial wall effectively that I would hope this is going to cost, and it's going to be a slow process, so I might not do it all now. I'm not going to be drawing this particularly accurately, but you can see the idea. It just creates a raised area that hopefully will deflect the water, because it is over here that does get hit the most. Is that actually doing anything? Why is it saying refund? I don't want a refund. Landscaping costs, that's better. There we go. So the idea would be to bring this to an even height, do it relatively straight and narrow. Of course, as the city grows, it might well be that this will be in the wrong place, and I want the city to be built outside of this line, but we'll deal with that when we come to it. We'll either flatten it all out again and just build it further out, or it'll be a two-tier defence. If the first line breaches, then this one will still be here to try and prevent further flooding. Oops. Got a bit crazy there, haven't I? So incidentally, don't forget to follow and click on the notification bell if you want to keep up with how this city develops. This is the only city I'm doing on City Skylines at the moment. I've been playing this for most of January. This is the second city I've ever done. It's a slow burner. It's not racing up in population or anything like that. I'm in no hurry. But we're just gradually building it up and making it work. Changing bits here and there. as things seem to, you know, when I realise how things aren't working. It's a learning experience. I had a city on the go, the first city I did, right back probably the first or second week in January, and got to a measly 3,000 people before it all died. It just I had problems with polluted water, and it just wasn't working. There we go. But this second city, this second attempt, has done well. It's ticked over. Everything's been all right. The population generally has been going in the right direction. It's had its dips. It's had a little dip now. It was at 40,000, 41,000 the other day. Yesterday? Maybe yesterday. But generally, it's all going in the right sort of direction. Don't want to bring it too far. The problem will be, of course, with the railway line when it comes to this defence. Because that's necessarily going to have to breach it and create a gap. And where there's a gap, if the game's treatment of water mimics real life, the water is going to go through that gap. There we are. But we've got a bit of a defence there now. We won't do anything for the toll booths. Never mind, they can be expendable. But it might just reduce the impact that a tsunami will have on this area of the city. Just forcing water to go around in this direction. That's the idea. It might not be high enough, it might need to go higher. But it might just be enough to reduce the impact. Even if the water comes over, it might not mean that we don't get quite the volume of water hitting the city. So that'll make a bit of a difference. We'll see how that goes. If it needs to go higher, it'll need to go higher. It's not the most attractive thing in the world. I could put trees on it. I could put a footpath along it, make it a walk. Flood defence walk. Doesn't look like it's quite level enough there. So I'm just going to bring this across here as well. And of course then we've got the river over here, so if the water comes up nearer to the river, then hopefully it'll just deflect into the river. The risk with that, of course, is that we have higher surges in the river. Higher surges in the river, I mean, they might not be too much of a problem here. These banks are quite high. But as we get around here, as we saw, these are quite low-lying areas, and they're prone to flooding. We'll see. We'll see how it works. We'll need another tsunami, obviously. I'm not going to set one off. I'm not in the habit of setting off disasters on this game. Not at the moment, in a way. I don't actually want to destroy my city. But we seem to be okay now. The problem with bodies waiting collection seems to have resolved itself, which I expected it would do. Population is edging back up to the 40,000, which is good. We don't seem to have too many issues. So I'm pleased. I've got a bit of... is that industry down there? That's not doing the water area any good, is it, by the looks of it? Let's just have a look at the pollution levels. Ground pollution is only 3%. There is no pollution in drinking water. That's good. The main pollution is obviously in the where waste disposal goes on. So we've got landfill, we've got incinerators, recycling facilities. Got some old industry here. This is legacy stuff. I don't have much of the old industry and down here as well anymore. This was the original industrial district. And a lot of it has been converted over to offices now. But we've still got this legacy bit here, which I may well change. As we look over this way, does that cause pollution then? That's the pumping service. Nothing going on there at the moment, no water stored, but they're the ones that came out and fixed the roads. Recycling over here, caused a bit of pollution, it's out of the way, that's fine. And that little bit of whatever that is. Oh, that's probably an incinerator or recycling facility. Recycling facility. Which it needs, really, for the area around here. So I'm going to leave that in and not worry about it. 3% ground pollution is not too bad. Not too bad at all. And there's certainly no pollution at all in the water system, which is excellent. As I say, the first city I did, which only got to about 3,000 people, water pollution was up about 40–50%, and everyone just kept getting sick. I kept building hospitals to try and cure their ills. Of course, they cost money, and I wasn't getting a population growth, and it just all went utterly wrong. This time, we seem to be keeping everything quite balanced, and I've solved the water pollution problem. I never have in this city had a problem with water pollution, which means people generally aren't getting sick. So that is the key difference between this city and the first one I did. What's going on over here? Did I just see a pumping truck? What's that? No, it's an oil truck. Okay. Buses are getting a bit congested. People are using them though. That's good. Well, I'm not using that one. They're using that one though. Well, they were. They're all getting off there. And we've got a bus going the other way around. Okay, empty now. Did have 5. So this is covered by 2 bus lines, which effectively are exactly the same line. One goes clockwise, one goes anti-clockwise. And that brings people from here into the commercial area and the industrial area. Now, I know what I was saying before about zoning residential, then industry, then commercial, but this is a little bit different to what I was talking about earlier, where there's a bit of a gap between the residential area, the noisy commerce, and the less noisy industry. But maybe thinking about it, I should have done it, that this would be industry, and then this would be commerce, just because commerce is noisy. If we look at the noise levels, it's quite high. And if we look at the zoning, well, we've got commerce here. It might be worth getting rid of that if it wasn't for the fact there's a bit of a demand for commerce at the moment. I could swap. So we've got commerce here, we've got industry here. This is a commercial district, so this should be commerce. So let's swap that. And we'll put this area. I know it's not quite the same size, but that's fine. And we'll see how that goes. Just a little bit quieter. It should make the residents on the riverfront here just that little tiny bit happier, hopefully. But it does mean that they haven't got any shops next door to them. Let's have a look at the noise levels now. There we go. So we can see we've got a little bit. It's still noisy-ish. There's still noise there, but it's just that little bit less. As the industry, it has a noise to it, just not quite. Well, not anywhere as near as much as this is all residential here. There's no noise generated. See, the motorway has its problems with noise. As far as I'm aware, by planting trees, that sort of mitigates noise. So what I can do, I mean, I know this is commercial, so who cares? But if I line the motorway with some trees, that might just reduce a little bit. I mean, it's going to be negligible because commerce is making its own racket. There we go. It was a pointless exercise, really. So if I end up having any residential area approaching the motorway, I might think again about putting a line of trees. I don't think we're going to see an impact. It's going to be hard to see an impact because the noise on commerce is just seeping out this way anyway. Right, what are we at? 11 o'clock. I'm going to call it there, I think. Let's say it's been very much just pootling around, haven't really achieved much in terms of population growth. I have achieved a little bit in terms of the expansion of the city, in terms of its zoning, and what's gone on over here, because this area, well, it still is a mess. It still is a mess of all sorts going on here, but before today's session it was worse. Before today's session, the railway lines came further in before they'd go under. We had more power lines visible. There was none of this zoning. We had no, we didn't have the wind turbines. I got rid of those yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Can't remember which. So that was sorted before today. But yeah, power lines, railway lines were a bit of a mess. The junctions around here were a bit of a mess. So we've tidied up a bit. We've brought the railway lines back in terms of when they enter into tunnels. So as soon as they've come across the river on these bridges, they're into tunnels, they're running under. The freight line, which is this lower one here on the picture, that comes out over here now, whereas before it came out over here and went up on a bridge and was a right mess. The railway system is still a mess. It looks awful. This road here, which goes over the motorway and then goes under the bypass and then goes over the railway and then does this horrible curve around to join this station, which really has just been plonked there, you know, weeks ago when I first got the ability to put stations in. That all needs work. That's what I'm trying to say. I might rethink the layout of the bypass here so that this road, while I might keep it here, this road, instead of going under the bypass, it goes over, which will probably look a little bit nicer because, and then it doesn't, it sort of follows what goes on with the motorway, the highway here. So that's something I might play around with, and then this road would be on the ground rather than a bridge all the way along. It doesn't need to be a bridge all the way along. Of course, I could flatten it down to the ground over at this point here as soon as it's crossed over this road, but then we're just going up again over here, so I've decided to keep it elevated. Thinking about it, it's just come to mind, I don't want to zone next to the bypass, because that's what this is. It's a bypass. I don't want people really parking on the road. I don't want bus stops on it. I don't want any extra junctions, apart from the large roundabouts that occur every now and again. I don't want any zoning. And I was thinking earlier how the only way I could do a road with no zoning on either side, other than being disciplined and not doing the zoning, is to use a highway, a motorway, because you cannot zone next to a motorway. If we have a look at the zoning, there are no squares available to do it. If we look at the bypass here, which is just a large bi-directional road, I can zone, but I don't want to, because the idea is it's a bypass. It's not for people living next to it. It's not for having shops lining it and all that sort of stuff. And of course, it just occurred to me, I can't zone next to an elevated road, so I could make the whole bypass slightly elevated, and then that would mean I would never be able to accidentally zone next to it. That might be some upgrade I will think about. In which case, what I said about this road here, forget it. That probably won't apply, because I'll keep the whole road elevated up to the point of roundabouts, bring it down at the roundabouts, pretty much like this is here. So we're elevated to the tunnel, we're elevated around, and then we bring it down for the roundabout. Shouldn't be able to zone next to it. We can't. That's fine. That's good. I just have to rework that in all around here. Should I just do that quickly? Just quickly. Just pause the game a minute. Just quickly. I just want to have a little look. No, that was right. I want this one, and I want slight curve, but I want to... I'm going to have to take that off there as well. Now, see, it wants to flatten it. I don't want it flattened. Okay, let's think. That curve is too much. Right, just bring it to there. just do a little connection. So, yeah, that looks horrible. Let's bring it back a bit. Just a smidge. Why won't that connect onto there then, eh? There we go. There we go. Oh, so close. So close. That's ridiculous. I'm not having that. No, 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 no. Don't be daft. Do not be daft. Oh, that's weird. So I might have to rethink that tunnel then. If I can't connect to it without... Oh no, there we go. There we are. A slight dip down, but not enough to say, okay, you can zone here. So we've got an elevated section of bypass, no zoning allowed. It also means that if I want to, as the city expands, if it does come to this side of the what is at the moment the bypass, roads can pass underneath it. They'd have to bridge at the moment because I am not allowing junctions on the bypass. Right, hopefully that's not too far forward and we can just do a little slope down onto the roundabout. There we are. There we go. So that's what I want to do. That solves my problem where I don't want the option to zone next to the bypass. I don't even want the option because I know at some point if I have the option to zone there, I'll think, oh, why haven't I zoned there? And I will click it and I will zone it and then it'll ruin my bypass because it'll have cars parked on it and whatnot and bus stops and all the stuff that's just going to slow down passage for vehicles on this road. So I think that's the right solution. It means rebuilding the whole section, which is a pain. And I'm not going to do it all now. And I might well do it all off stream because it can't be that entertaining just seeing me rebuild a road. I'm going to do this bit. No. He says, I'm not going to do it on stream. He says before doing it all on stream. Will the road fit under there? Will it fit? The answer is going to be no. Probably. Okay, let's see. Will it fit? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Come on. Yes, matey. There we are. That's what I want. I've cut off the power lines, but let's not worry too much about that. Because we do have a... Do we have a connection? No. Alright, so that's an issue. Oh, I've solved one problem and I get another. How annoying. Okay, let's think. I can connect the power lines. There, that's connected to there, so that's fine. I can bring the power lines this side of the bridge and into the roundabout. Can I do that? Please? It's not going to look pretty. Just ensures we've got the power connection because I can't put the power lines over that elevated bypass. We'll leave that there because that brings the connection to the... well, there is a connection there, but we'll leave it for now. Right. Okay, let's not go crazy with redoing this bypass right now. I really don't think that's going to be that entertaining to watch, but that is the way forward, I think, for the bypass. It's going to be elevated all the way around. It might not be as elevated as it currently is over here. This is probably a little bit too elevated. It's elevated to get over this road, but I don't know if it needs to be quite so much. Maybe it does. It is going up a hill. And we're also elevated to get over the motorway here. And then we come down. Is that going to be zonable there? Yeah. Let's just do... Right. Okay, this is it. Right. One last little tiny bit. Just to finish off this section.
The Coast Guard is
Oh,
warning of a
you are
tsunami
kidding. Oh,
approaching
it's only a
the
little
area.
one. Alright, okay,
Residents
we're not
should
going anywhere.
avoid
We're
roads
going to watch the
and
tsunami.
waterfronts.
We're going to see if my flood defense works. There we go. Right, bypass is done for this section. It also makes it much easier to identify the bypass at a later date as things get a little bit more complicated and urbanised and busy. I will still think, where's my bypass? Oh yes, it's the elevated road that has no zoning next to it. Where's that tsunami? Let's speed things up. So this is a smaller one. This is only 5.7. The last one was 7, if I remember right. This time I've got this barrier. It might not be high enough. We'll see if it does deflect the water and reduce the impact on this area of the city. It might not be enough. Here it is. Here's the surge. And of course, it probably won't protect the low-lying areas from flooding. These are the areas, if you missed it from the last disaster about 5-10 minutes ago, these lower areas
The Coast
of the
Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching
river.
the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
Thank you. These lower lying areas on the river tend to flood, so it won't do much for those. These got quite high banks, so we should be right around here. But traditionally, what happens is the tsunamis will clip this area primarily. So I'm hoping that this raised elevation, this flood defense, if you like, will mitigate that to a point. But it is only a 5.7. It is a smaller tsunami than last time. It might not even get there. If we look here, we can already see it seems to... Well, we've got a surge in the river, but this is fizzling out. It's not even going to get there.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area.
I think we're fine. We don't even need to worry about it. It's just fizzling out. There is going to be a surge in the river. This is going to hit over here. I'm not even sure this is going to hit my toll boost. It just looks like it's going to fizzle out before it even gets there. Which is good for the city, but it's no good for me, my testing of my flood defence. In fact, it might even go past the flood defence as it is anyway. It might just come around this area here, if it does get this far. It might hit the toll booths. There's nothing to protect them. I consider them a bit more expendable. You know, apologies to all the drivers on the road, but there's not much I can do about that.
The Coast Guard is warning of a tsunami approaching the area. Residents should avoid roads and waterfronts.
Here it comes. Just a little one. Will it hit the flood defence? It's going to fizzle out, isn't it? It's not even going to get there.
A tsunami has struck the city. Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until
see, it's already fizzling out around here. This certainly isn't going to be a problem. That looks like it's stopped. The whole thing is not an issue. It's a non-event, apart from the obviously the drivers on the motorway won't agree with that. They'll think it's very much a very big event, but in terms of the city itself, it's not going to hit. It's not going to affect any properties. Yes, okay, we had a bit of flooding on the toll booths, but that's by the by. Might just clip the edge of that flood defence, will it, do you think? We're just going to miss it. It's certainly not going to go over it, is it? There we go, it's just reaching it now. Just pulling up, just going around. So the principle seems to work. It's just how much of a flood it would manage to mitigate. And whether it's going to be enough to divert the water around past this area. So I think in a larger tsunami, it looks like it would possibly just wrap around this defence and then carry on here. So while we might protect up here, the station area and the town hall that we've got here may still be vulnerable. It's hard to say. We'd need the larger event to really test it. As I say, the last tsunami was a 7, and that did hit up here. Because we are quite far, well, we're not far inland, but we're certainly not by the coast. As the city goes this way, and gets by the coast, then things might be a very different matter. The surge in the river is fine at this point. By the looks of things, that is the surge there, I think, isn't it? Doesn't seem to be moving, mind you. Or does it? It's hard to tell. Speed up. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the surge in the river. Whether that's going to be enough to flood the properties upstream, sorry. I don't know. Certainly, even with a 7, I mean, this hasn't really flooded as far as I've seen. It looks like it might have affected this bridge at some point, and maybe some of these houses, just by how high the water level is now on a 5.7. I didn't look when the last tsunami, the number 7 tsunami, struck. It looks like it could have just clipped over, I suppose. But now we're coming down here and we can see the water level is extremely high. Is it going to go over the bridge? Is it going to flood it? No, we're just okay. Just okay on the bridge there as it comes down into one of the lower areas.
Geologists predict that a sinkhole could strike at any
minute.
minute.
Now we've got a sinkhole.
Residents should take precautionary measures.
I've had one of them before as well, but it didn't cause any issues. There we go. We've got flooding.
Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until the water recedes.
So there's not much, short of putting in an artificial riverbank, there's not that much I can do about the flooding of this street. Well, I could put an artificial riverbank in, or I could just get rid of this street and move things further back. This is quite a hill. And we just saw the flooding just touch onto this house here, but very quickly disappeared again. Oh crikey! Oh crikey! There we go. Wow!
Somewhere in the city.
Crumbs! Not had one of them before. Not like that. Gosh. That's quite destructive, and we've cut off this area here. Okay, let's get the landscaping out. Let's get that leveled. That was quite destructive. I've not had one like that before. It looks like we've also cut off water. Gosh, right. First things first. Let's restore water. I need to follow the pipes. The cut is here, isn't it? That looks like... Yeah, it's this line here. So we just bring that back up. We'll go around and reconnect. Hopefully that will solve the water and sewage. Cut off that whole area. That should quickly resolve.
A tsunami has struck the city.
Oh, not again.
Take caution and avoid roads and waterfronts until the water recedes.
Was that this one again? Yeah, we already had that. Never mind that. I'm busy. Right. I was going to conclude the stream about 15 minutes ago, wasn't I? Now, I don't think we need this power line anyway, so that's probably nothing to worry about too much. So let's just take that out. That's probably a bit of a legacy infrastructure. Now, the question is, how did the roads work up here before? I can't remember. I guess this connected up to here, although that's a small road and that's a big road, so I'm just going to put a small... Well, what I should do first is level the sinkhole. It's not doing any favours sitting down there. So, this is going to cost. But, needs must. We'll bring that back up. Fill the hole in, reconnect the roads, rezone as necessary, and everybody will be happy jolly. The last sinkhole I had was on the edge of the riverbank and affected precisely nobody. So this is the first sinkhole I've had that has actually caused a problem. And isn't that typical? It would happen so soon after the tsunami. Should we do? Will that be enough? I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be precise. It could be a bit of a cliff there. Right. Let's see. We need the road to connect up. I'm assuming it was a small road. Not all the way down, mind you. Larger road. What is that? Is that a... That's a 2-lane, isn't it? So let's have the 2-lane road up to here. And then we'll have the smaller road. Connect to there. That might have been what it was like. Maybe, possibly. Motorway comes down. That connects across. Maybe. I'll do a connection like that as well. Why not? Rezone. This should be offices. And hopefully we'll get recovery, disaster recovery to do repairs, I would guess. I could do it myself. Well, that was exciting. We've got an interruption on the underground. Is that the underground or is that the railway? That's the underground. Right, let's reconnect the line. The railway's here, that's fine. It just missed the railway. I don't think that tunnel was actually being used, but connect it anyway. It's there if I need it. How do I know if disaster response is coming to fix my roads over here? Destruction, what's this one? Disaster detection. Radio coverage. Do I not have something that tells me? It tells me there's lots of destruction there, but it's not telling me whether disaster response is on its way. Maybe I should just do it myself. I mean, we just might end up spending ages waiting for something that's never going to happen. 2-lane road. And then we need to repair the slip road. This is an off-ramp. Highway. Slip road. Curved. No, too much. Something along those lines. And then we just rezone those offices. Something like that. What's going on here actually? This is a different road. I've done a I've done a 3-lane road. I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. I wanted to do that. There we go, that's better. Anywhere else? Yes, here. So we've got the off-ramp here, needs fixing. Motorways, ramps. Should we just do a straight one to connect to there? Wrong way round. That's better. We've got a small road here that needs replacing. Whoops, not upgrade, just build. Thank you very much. And we've got a small road over here. And a small road here. Let's just do both of those at the same time. That just came across there, I think. And then this one here needs fixing. And we've got the 2-lane road here that needs repairs. There we are. How's that looking? That's better. Fixed. That was alright. And look, I've made progress. I said I hadn't made any progress today in terms of population, but we got to 42,000 people, despite a few disasters, which is pleasing. Right, I'm going to save it there. And I am going to call it, because I said I was going to finish about 15 minutes ago, and then these exciting things happened. So thank you very much for watching the stream today. Do follow and hit the notification bell. That way, if you want to see how the city grows and develops over time, next time you see me broadcasting, you can pop in and have a little look. I do play some other games on the stream as well. It's not just City Skylines. I've also got Horace on the go, which is the relatively new platformer in the sort of pixel art style, which is good fun. I'm also starting Mark of the Ninja, which I started, was it the beginning of this week? I can't remember now, but anyway, I've done a level of that, so that will come up again at some point, probably over the next week. Try and do a bit of retro stuff as well, often schedule that around Thursdays. This is all up in the air. It all depends on work, so there's no guarantee, but it tends to be around Thursdays for Throwback Thursday. Do some retro gaming. Recently, that's been Magic Land Dizzy on the Commodore 64 emulated. That was finished last Thursday, so there'll be something else coming up in the not too distant future in terms of retro gaming. I haven't decided what it's going to be. It might be one of the point-and-click adventures. It might not be. It might be something completely different. I don't know. So stay tuned. Over at twitch.tv/BG2019UK. I will publish what I'm doing on there if I know what I'm doing. But as I say, it's all up in the air. All depends on work, because unfortunately I do need to be paid, even though this is much more fun. You can also follow over on Twitter, and that is at BenPlaysGB over on Twitter. And I'll also try and publish there what is going on. But in the meantime, I will say thank you very much for watching. Hopefully I will see you soon, and have a great Saturday. Ta-ta, bye-bye.